Hi everyone, my name is Chris Martin. Welcome to Keto with me. It is day 23 on my journey back into keto. If you're new to my channel, check out my day 0 video where I cover the details and reasons of why I created this video series. All right, let's roll the clip. Well, that was my day 23 clip. Let's start with the numbers and we can see how things are looking. So yesterday my carbs were 8, that's pretty good. So my blood glucose, wait for it, 72. Wow. These numbers just keep going down and down and down, so I'm really tickled with where this is going. So keep in mind right now I'm fasting, so the fasting is helping me break the insulin resistance, which I'm sure I'm moving out of fairly quickly here. So that's all good news. My ketones holding steady at around the 2, so it's 2.2 today. That's very good. I did have a little bit of movement on my weight loss. It's I'm 216.5 now for a loss of 0.5 for the day, and that gives me a grand total of 17.9 pounds to date. So all looking good right there. My macros also looking really good. I had 75% dead right on the money of fat for yesterday, 3% of carbs, and then 22%, I almost read it as 72, 22% of protein. So my macros are looking fantastic for yesterday. So day 23 was really good. Overall, it was a great day. I had, if you looked at the slides, you'll see that I had no MCT. The previous day, I believe I used MCT at dinner time to kind of, bring up the numbers. But I was able to with the, I don't know if you saw it, but it was just a monstrous omelet that I made myself yesterday. It was absolutely delicious. So it was a really good omelet. So I had broke my fast around 4:45, and by 5:15 I was done and ready for fasting the next day. So again, drinking the mineral salts during the day, that really helps me. So everything's looking good. So let's move on to the goals, folks. All right, let's take a look at my day 23 goals and see how my pit of success is working. This is day 2 of week 4. Right off the get-go, you can see that on sleep, I ended up with about 7 hours sleep with no times up. Looking good there. Had a couple of cruddy nights, couple of cruddy nights 2 days before, and was finally able to get some rest. So feeling good. It's going to take a little while, in this first month or so for my body to really get used to it and sleeping better and all that. So the good news is I just have, just tons and tons of energy. So that's very positive. Moving on to the eating keto category. So as far as fasting goes, 22 hours and 30 minutes. I'm waiting until, I start to get hungry. There's no like, hey, I'm pushing myself past it. I've been very fortunate. The mineral salt that I've been taking has been helping very much. So I'm in the beast mode category for that guy. As far as style goes, dirty clean. I'm doing well on that. Moved myself up, 1 on that because it's 2 days in a row this week. I'm going to slowly move to the right on that. trying to eat as much whole foods as I possibly can. As far as macros, I had 8 carbs, and then if you remember the macro percentages I shared a few minutes ago on the daily recap, 75, 3, and 22, looking really good in that category, so beast mode on that. As far as learning goes, I actually reviewed two videos yesterday. Those 2 videos, one of them I was like, it's just too lectury, too, for lack of better words, boring at this point. I'll definitely share it, but probably be like maybe a month from now. So, when that comes back up. Moving on to the tracking category, I've got my journal. It seems like it would be a lot of work to do this, but it really isn't. It's now a habit. So, sometimes what I find happens is I put something in the chronometer first, and then I transfer it to this. Or I'll put a note there and then, put it in chronometer or vice versa. But in the end, I've got a record pretty much in both places. I don't put like exhausting detail in both, but there's just a lot of notes like, make sure I mention this or something like that. So if you look, I had a really big omelet yesterday. It was really good, and as I was putting it together, I was like, oh yeah, I want to put that in. Oh yeah, I want to put that in. So I kind of jot it down, but then I go back in chronometer and see kind of like, hey, if I do add that, what's it going to do to me? So tracking, fantastic. Beast mode category on that. As far as meditation, relaxation, 5 in the morning, 5 in the evening. I was pretty decently busy yesterday, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to do anything longer than that. But nonetheless, I did it. So good category on that. Exercise, non-existent at this point, but will be in the future at some point. Okay, that's it for my goals, folks. Let's take a look at the video recommendation. All right, let's look at day 23 video recommendation. I have another video by the Keto Connect folks. That's Matt and Mega. So it's about 8 minutes and 41 seconds. It does talk about net carbs versus total carbs. I know I feel like I'm beating this to death, but you're going to have this dilemma, I think, because I know I sure did, the first time that I was doing it. Because I had done Atkins before and some other things, just like a lot of us have, and I remembered that, oh yeah, net carbs, I can eat whatever I want, so I'd end up, getting a ton more. So we've heard Dr. Ken Berry, him and his wife, they were like, if it's a single ingredient, basically a whole food, like something real, nothing that's processed, they do net carbs. And that seems very fair to me. I told you, that seems reasonable if you'd like to count net carbs for that. And then you look at Dr. Boz, where she's like, total carbs, which is kind of like the safer bet, right? I mean, if you go with total carbs, and you listen to what she was saying about fiber and how it affects, insulin and other things like that, she has a very, very, very valid argument. So, but Matt and Mega, they come right out the gate. I bet it's not even 10 seconds into the video, net carbs. They tell you right off the get-go, net carbs. So one point that Matt mentioned, fairly shortly in the video, was that other countries list all their carbs and net carbs, so they already take care of it for you. So why don't we do that? It's kind of what he's saying. So it's nice to have their perspective because we get 2 scientists, basically doctors that tell us that this is the way it is. And this is how we should do it, even though like Dr. Berry is, will do net carbs, whereas Dr. Boz, doesn't. So you get even on that side. And I think they're rational arguments for all of us. So I think in the video, they were going, basically saying that, that they did refer to science, and they said they had some links below. I didn't go check them out yet. I was just fairly busy preparing to travel, which I forgot to mention that, I'll be, for the next 2 days videos, you'll see I'm somewhere else. So anyway, moving on. Let's see. They do a lot of whole foods. They did go and they did talk about like some of the sweeteners and stuff like that, which ones to, stay away from, because even though it says this on the label, that it's still really, really high. Just remember what we discussed on sweeteners with Dr. Boz, that they trigger that insulin response. So they'll stop you, even though they're going to keep your carbs down. They're still going to hinder, your body's ability to actually it'll make you, store fat and stuff like that. So you have to be very, very, very careful with that kind of stuff. Going back to what I said before, listen to your body. That's what I'm going to do. Choose where you want to be on this. If you want to be a net, or if you want to be a total, or if you want to kind of be a net on some, total on others. That's kind of what I am. I'm doing total for like everything except for the coffee that I mentioned. And then, if I get to a sticking point where I'm like, wow, I really gotta, I'm trying to get to this next level or something, I will change it if I have to. But for the most part, I think this is going to work for me, indefinitely. So I'm hoping you find some value in it. That should be the last total versus net carb. It's a fairly easy video to watch. I think you'll enjoy it. So that's it for today's video recommendation. That's it for day 23, folks. Thanks for watching today's video. Please like and subscribe so you can keto with me. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. Just remember, none of us are perfect. Be a coach, not a critic, and take care.